Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Chris Legaspi, and today we're going to continue the Skills That Pay the Bills series. This episode will be on drawing and inventing the figure, and specifically the figure in high angle, low angle camera view. This is where you're looking up at the figure, where your camera is below. It's also known as worm's eye. Or if you're looking down on the figure, if you place the camera above the figure and you're looking down, it's also known as bird's eye view. So these are very difficult poses, very, very tricky. So I'm going to share some exercises to help you draw this or these difficult poses, arguably two of the most difficult poses in figure drawing and head drawing for that matter. And a lot of what we're going to talk about today is directly applies to movie poster work. This drawing here is a demonstration from one of my poster classes, one of my movie poster drawing programs, and this is a perfect example of stuff that I do every day, all the time. I'm called to do low angle views of, for various poster designs of various characters and actors, high angle view as well, looking down. So this is a big part of the job. So we're going to talk about ways to make our perspective and foreshortened figures better. And before we begin, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my free Insiders Club. Insiders Club members get first access to these weekly live streams, and you also get access to other live events, and you get discounts on courses and programs, along with access to free lessons and other free content available only to subscribers. So all you have to do is go to www.drawwithchris.com, and there you can enter your email and you'll be good to go. And we're going to start with some warm-up exercises, starting with some simple forms. And then we're going to do freehand sketching of robot man or mannequin man. These are basically like one of those drawing mannequins, just kind of drawing a figure that's built on basic geometry, just to get us warmed up and used to drawing a perspective. And then we're going to do some master copies here. So we're going to look at how great master artists accomplish this difficult task, drawing low and high angle. Then we're going to do our own sketching. We'll start with drawing from photography, drawing from reference, and then we're going to see if we can invent our own low and high angle figures. And if you're watching live or on replay, comment below. Let me know where you are located. Where are you watching from? Where are you listening from? And what time is it for you? I'm currently in Thailand at the moment, and it's 8 in the evening for me. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here. Now, this image here is from a book called How to Draw the Marvel Way, one of my favorite drawing books, a classic drawing book. So we're gonna do these kind of robo mans, what I call them, mannequin man. But we're gonna start with some just the basic forms, just to get us warmed up. All right, we're just gonna start with some sketching. So I'm gonna start with a long rectangle, and I'm just gonna kind of draw them in perspective. So imagine basically 3-point perspective. This is not a perspective class by any means, and I wouldn't consider myself a perspective expert by any means, but I just kind of want to draw extend the sides of our little rectangle here, or cube, and then I'm going to divide this in thirds just to give me a feeling of a torso. And I'm going to make this one more of a low angle. So we're below the box. Now I'm going to draw one kind of high angle, see how we do there. And this is, if you've never done this, it can be fun. or if you haven't done it in a while, it's a nice warm up, kind of gets your hand moving, kind of develops your perspective drawing skills, and gives you a little bit of confidence. These little wins, like it's my teacher, Steve Huston, he calls them these little wins, which are great, kind of build their confidence because, what we're about to do is hard. I'm not going to lie. And I'm sure if you've ever tried to draw a figure in a low or high angle, it's not easy. So just warming up here. I'm going to start with these cylinders, excuse me, boxes, and then we'll move on to cylinders. As you can see, I'm sure the perspective is not perfect at all, but it's freehand sketch, it's warm up, it's great. Let me try a more dramatic one. Really deep perspective. Let's see if I can pull that off. You can get this kind of perspective depending on the lens. Comment below if you're watching here and you're into photography. Let me know what your experience is with photography. I recently got into photography. I got my first proper DSLR camera. So I started to understand lenses better. So now when I look at reference, I can kind of tell the type of lens. But basically, why it's important is that these wide angle lenses give you this much more dramatic perspective. Wide angle lens sort of distorts things in a lot of ways. So drawing my little freehand boxes here, or rectangles really, kind of represents the torso. Okay, so I got some of those. Now I'm going to draw some cylinders. Obviously, the box is great to represent the torso or the head. Now I'm going to represent the limbs, which are generally drawn as cylinders. I'm going to make sure I use my little cross section. I'm going to draw them in various positions, various perspective, just to practice, warm up, low angle, high angle. Imagine, you're controlling the camera. You have like an unlimited camera range, like you're on a crane or something like that. And this will allow you to see the different forms or the different parts of the body and these sort of perspectives. Let's see. Let's see if I can do a really dramatic one. We've all seen those shots where the camera's almost overhead. So when we look at our figure, the feet are basically under the body, so you can see only a little bit of the feet. Okay, so I got a nice little warm up here. Now what I'm going to do is do kind of a jointed effect. I'll show you what I mean. So imagine take our cylinder and add a joint, let's say at the elbow. Well, it's not really an elbow, it's just pretend. It's basically a two-part cylinder that has a joint in it. It's a little more difficult. So once you get warmed up and you're comfortable drawing freehand boxes, then you can try these jointed sort of freehand drawings because the arms are a big part of drawing the figure in this difficult pose. The arm's going to be really, really important. And we're going to look at some examples from photography of that. And the main thing is to make sure that our position is communicated well. Now I'm going to try to do a box. So this can get really tricky and complicated. So don't worry too much about it being accurate. So this is like the 3 sections of the torso that I always talk about, or other good teachers mention. Let's see if we can do a top view. And again, don't be too serious, just a warm up. If you're watching at home, definitely follow along with me. Every demonstration in these live streams you can follow along with. So if you're new to drawing in this way, the reason why I chopped up these sections is that they represent the rib cage, the stomach, and then the hips. And obviously these cylinders represent the arms. So we can get a nice representation. And, you know, also practice our perspective sketching, because that's really what we're doing here. I'm going to do one more. Let's see if I can get, this one's a little bit tricky. This one you can't even see. You see that? That's sort of an advanced one, but that happens quite a bit, where the abs, the head would be here, for example, and then this would be the hips and the butt, and then the legs would be here. So it's a deep one, but you see how, I played with some basic ones to get warmed up, and then played with some basic cylinders to get warmed up, get them little wins. Put a joint in there, and then I started to play with more complex boxes to kind of just give me the feeling and sense of drawing the torso in perspective. Okay, our second exercise, another warm up, is to draw the Robo Man, the mannequin man, like that image I showed you earlier from the Marvel book. This is a little bit more complex. Obviously, it's a full figure. So I'll start with, let's start with the figure looking down, and I'm going to use for the head, I'm going to use a box. For the torso, I'm going to use the same old, just like we did just in the last warm-up. Remember that long rectangle? It's exactly why we started with that. Just the simple forms to get us warmed up, get us some little wins, build our confidence, our draftsmanship. It's all about the draftsmanship, about the mileage. Okay, now I need some arms. So just like we did earlier, making sure that we're going to make this arm straight. And then so the amount of foreshortening is tricky. This is where it gets tough. That's why this view just takes a lot of practice. And that's what this exercise will definitely help you do. So let's do the reverse, low angle, same pose, but in reverse. See if I can get the legs to look right. I hope so, maybe not. And the legs are just cylinders, so if they don't look right, it's okay. The tricky thing about low angle is that the limbs kind of taper, meaning they get smaller as they go away from your torso, right? Your legs are thickest at your hips, then they get thinner, thinner, thinner as they get down to your ankle and your foot, right? That's a tapering. Same with your arm. Your arm is thick at the shoulder, then it gets thinner, thinner, thinner until it gets to the wrist, right? But oh, that one looks a little off. But when we're drawing figures in these foreshortening, especially low angle, the perspective, the foreshortening happens this way, right? So that is really, really tricky. I'm not gonna lie. The balance of getting the taper to read right versus getting the view, the camera angle, the foreshortening. Foreshortening means things get smaller as they move away from you in 3D space. And let's see if I can do, let's do a seated one. So these are a little bit more difficult. If you're having trouble with these, don't worry. You can play with the first exercise, just the simple forms. Start to arrange them. Really, as you can see, I'm basically doing the same exercise, the very first exercise, but I'm just arranging the forms now to kind of make it look like a little robot here, a little figure. And practicing my low angle view. Practicing my cross sections. I got to give Steve Huston credit. He's the one who really emphasized the importance of cross sections with me. Now I put them everywhere in my drawing, and they're so valuable in drawing a perspective. Absolutely valuable. Let's see. Let's do a low angle. See if I can do a dramatic low angle. I may not succeed, but I mean, it looks, if you just joined us, you may be like, "What the hell? I can do that." It looks easy, and it is. It's easy. It's fun, especially if you have a little bit of experience, a little bit of mileage, and you draw a lot. And this can be a lot of fun. But there's still things that we need to get right, like proportion, placement. And again, if you're new, don't worry too much about it. But you want to be as close as possible to natural proportions. But really, the most important thing is that we warm up here, and some of these may be a little complex. You can make your poses as complex or as simple as possible, depending on where you're at experience-wise. So don't worry too much. But yeah, it's getting a nice little warm up here. Let me do one more. Got two highs, too low. Let's three high, too low. Let's do one more. Low angle. Let's see. How about not too dramatic? Maybe he's got his leg on something here. And he's holding a gun. It's a movie poster. He's going to be holding a gun. But yeah, you can see it's essentially the same exercise as before, just a little bit more advanced. All right, exercise number 3 is we're going to copy some master works of figures in perspective. And we're starting with the low angle view here. So we're looking up at our figure, and this is by the great Lion Decker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do really just try to copy as best as I can. I'm not going to spend too much time on the face, as much as I need to get the read for what I need. I need to show the face in the low angle, and we covered this as well in the first video in the series, how to draw heads in any angles. Same skill set, but different subject. So this is a great example. Today I was doing some research for this class, and I was trying to find various illustrators who do high or low angles. It's a little bit difficult actually to get the variety. I looked up guys like Rockwell and Cornwells and things like that, Mead Schaefer, but I really couldn't find anyone who does these low angles. So stuck with Leindecker here. He had a lot more than any other artist. So what I'm doing right now is a little bit of it's mostly shape, because I want to get the graphic shape of the figure first before I consider adding the perspective, and that will take some three-dimensional drawing, form drawing. Right now, 100% shape-based drawing right now, just like a lot of the other videos talk about. And I have a whole playlist on how to see shapes. Make sure you check that out. I got one specifically for figure and clothing and fabric. So that's what I'm looking at now. It's the various shapes in the fabric. Okay, so I got pretty good about this sketch. Okay, so let's see here. what I'd like to do now is, I'm not going to do the head too much. Just kind of give myself a head so that I can compare it with the rest of the body. That's really what it's there for right now. Not going to draw features or anything. This hat reminds me of a nurse's hat. Interesting shape. Okay. Let's see if I can get this detail. I can feel already my drawings a little bit off, but that's okay. What I'm doing now is I'm now starting to look at, oh, this is a detail shape. I don't know. I could save this to the end. Okay, so what I do now is look for ways to communicate the upshot, the low angle view, this beautiful arch here is a nice cross section. The folds in the fabric in his arm here create some beautiful cross sections. So the cross sections communicate position. And the fabric and the wrinkles and folds reinforce the position. The hand has a beautiful box. Notice that box under the palm right there. Leyendecker has it here. That is a beautiful tool, really, to show form and position. Because when you see that, you go, okay, I'm underneath this hand, or the hand is, well, in this case, I'm underneath it, but it could also be the hand is um, bent in a way, positioned in a way where we can see that underplane. So it's a very powerful underplane tool. These little wrinkles and folds, they look, to an untrained eye, they could feel like, oh, okay, they're just there because the reference or whatever. But there's a lot of purpose to them. They're very thoughtful. A lot of them help to show the cross section, to show basically to show the form, the thickness, the depth, the form of the torso there. So all of that is not by accident. It's just design. So that's what I'm looking at here. All these beautiful wrinkles that go across the stomach, in this case, the lower torso. They kind of do this thing, right? They do that thing, right? All of that, what that does is that shows the viewer, okay, we have a form in a certain position. And that's what I'm doing here. Same thing that Leyendecker is doing. We want to emulate from him. Again, these wrinkles in the legs, they do the same thing. And these kind of folds here, these are a little bit more decorative. There's that cast shadow. You guys see that right here over his knee and his pant leg, that cast shadow. That's a beautiful conscious cast shadow. He could have totally left that out. But remember, we want to show the form. We want to show the wrapping to show the position. Right now, he wants to remind you that, hey, this leg in 3D space, its position is that it's moving down, up and away from you, or you are below this leg. The camera is below, the viewer's eye is below. So the cross sections help to communicate the position. It's a very useful tool. Same here. So all of that. Notice the wrinkles in his crotch, also beautiful cross sections. The wrinkles near his pocket on his upper pant leg, all beautiful, beautiful tools, really. Cross sections. Can't see his other leg, but I'm just gonna leave that for now. don't want to spend too much time here. We still got a couple demos to do. Okay, well that and now I can quickly just kind of go over my work, see if I can play with intersections now. Intersections are another beautiful tool. And anytime I have an intersection, I'm going to emphasize it with slightly darker mark, a darker accent mark. And that creates the illusion of depth, right? We want the pant leg to feel like it's in front or comes before the shirt, then we can use that right here. It's a great place to do it. Subtle overlap. The hand is in front of the wrist and the arm sleeve. Arm sleeve is behind the torso and this little element there, this little bow or tie, navy tie kind of thing. This pant leg is in front of the right pant leg. So, yeah, and if you want to really deepen your understanding, I would go ahead and fill in the tones. Like so. Because then you could really see how he uses the tones. But I'm not going to go too far here. I'm going to move on to the next exercise. But you can see just how the tones adds another dimension of the drawing. You see that? You just keep leading your eye around. And that's really the main tool that's being used here in this case is the foreshortened cylinder in perspective will have cross sections to show exactly its position. That's exactly what's happening here. So we want to use that in our own work, which is why you want to do lots of these master copies. Obviously, the more you do, the more tips and techniques you'll pick up. I mean, for me, really, the one of the reasons, I've been drawing since I was a kid. I think a lot of people have, but I just, kind of stuck with it. But one of the reasons why I feel like, you know, certain types of drawing really resonate with me is that when I was a kid, I used to copy, the books that I had access to, and How to Draw the Marvel Way was one of the rare books I have access to. I'm a lot older now, and I was born before the internet, so I actually had to go to a store to research artwork. We didn't have YouTube or the internet, obviously. But anyway, for me, one of the reasons why I I feel like I could pick up this style of drawing quickly and draw these things quickly is because I was already copying foreshortened drawings when I was a kid. I was drawing figures in action poses and foreshortening, and I started by copying the diagrams in the Marvel book, which are mostly drawn by John Buscema, one of the iconic comic artists. And yeah, okay, so that's a nice little master copy. I would also do a high angle, obviously, where you're looking down. But for the sake of time in this class, I'm going to move forward with the next exercise. We're going to draw from photography now. So follow along with me. And if you get stuck, if this is a little too advanced for you, don't that's okay. Don't worry too much. I want you to try to imagine drawing this this pose and this angle as the robot man that we just practiced, right? The long cylinders, it's all here. Long cylinder for the pant leg, the arm, long cylinder. Even the torso can be a long cylinder, or you can use a box like we did. The head can be a cylinder or a box. So, yeah, let's do our study. And this is not easy. I definitely I don't want to in this class we're not going to do. This is more of the exercises. It's sort of a complement to my full length programs, movie poster, finger drawing programs. I cover this topic extensively in both of those programs, but in figure and in movie poster we draw clothes figure, costume figure, obviously. Um, but yeah, it just takes a lot of practice, and I think these exercises. One of the reasons why I wanted to do these exercise videos is because trying to make the practice not only more effective but also fun and enjoyable. I think if I think I think we could all agree you draw better when you're having fun, obviously. So I try to make these exercises fun. For me, I choose reference that I think is interesting. For example, if you're going to do a low angle view and you're interested in entertainment work like me, you want to do movie posters or games or something, maybe pick a character that you like or enjoy. Maybe you like Batman, or you like Naruto or something, Dragon Ball Z, or, you know what I mean, some kind of video game character. You can do figure invention exercise with those characters. Or maybe you're a fan like uh, like I've been binge watching Tom Cruise movies lately. I don't know why. Started with Oblivion, and then his new Mission Impossibles are pretty good actually. So uh, if you're it's a favorite actor you have or favorite movie, maybe like Tom Cruise or John Wick or Avengers or something, then you draw those characters in low or high angle. So that's part of what makes it fun. Okay, so just kind of getting the basic shell. As you can see, right? You know, this is still exactly what we just did all the way back in the first exercise. Cylinders, right? Boxes. Exactly what we're doing. So now we just have clothing, and just like we learned from Leyendecker, clothing again is a beautiful tool to add cross sections and to show position, right? We want to show that we are eye level wise, we're below something. We need to communicate that. Cross sections is a great tool for that. Also planes. Some of these wrinkles communicate planes. You can see this jacket he's wearing here on the left. You see that? Has a beautiful underplane. This is great. You see that? That underplane. Also, here's a nice underplane. Underplane. All of these planes help to show, hey, you're below. You're below. Your eye level's below. Your eye level's below. Worm's eye view, worm's eye view, low angle, low angle. You know what I mean? All of these things that you want to put in your drawing as well, you you have a lot more uh, a lot more tools really if uh, you have clothing, and if you can design the clothing really well. Like right now, the clothing is I'm part copying. I would say maybe 80% copying or 20% trying to copy what I see, describe what I see, be faithful, right, naturalistic about it. And the other part is design. And just like I just showed you, design wise, I want to show underplanes right now. I want to show underplanes and cross sections. That is my primary goal. And I changed the foot a little bit here. I thought showing the underplane of the foot would be fun. So that's why I changed the foot. Now I gotta kind of imagine these wrinkles now. They're gonna change a little bit. But again, it's still just an exercise, just for fun. If we have fun, we can improve, draw better, and sometimes it's hard to have fun when you're drawing something difficult. I know you may be getting frustrated or you're already frustrated by this pose. I don't blame you. And I'm not gonna do the head. The head's got nice shadow there. And this this image here I got from a Pinterest. It's on my Pinterest page there, and it's got a low angle. Um, it's shot with what's called a wide angle lens. If you're new to photography, and basically allows you to to see more of the scene, right? It's wider. You can see more of the scene, but it creates distortion, sort of creates this kind of warping. It's a very unnatural view. If we were to stand, let's say we were lying down on the ground and someone was standing above us like this or walking past us. Hope they don't step on us, but we can. It would not look. The perspective will not be as dramatic, but the lens makes it very, very dramatic and interesting. Okay, I don't like the design of that. I'm going to change that. That's a little better. Okay, I feel pretty good about this. To me, the next thing would be to add some tone. I'm going to not do that for the sake of time. I'd like to move on to the next exercise. Try to keep this class, otherwise this class will be 3 hours long. But I'll just quickly do it here. Just quickly add tone just to show you what would be next. And it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Because again, and this has nice lighting too. So I want to, be take advantage of that, the beautiful shadows and the underplanes. See, the moment I add the tone, you see how it feels like there's a bunch of little planes happening, which there are. The folds in the fabric are creating underplanes, which are blocking the light, and they just keep really reinforcing the illusion of the low angle view. And it's exactly what we want. We want to reinforce the illusion, reinforce, underplane of that fold, underplane of the fold, underplane of the fold, underplane of the fold, underplane of a fold. See that? So line design combined with tone and value shapes is a winning combination. Talk about all the time. Just quickly, I don't like that. It's cash out. Okay, here we go. And again, if you're new and this is still challenging for you, don't worry. I would keep doing the box forms, the cylinder forms, the basic forms until you can draw those freehand. And then what I would also do is practice drawing fabric, because that's a big challenge too. And I have a video on that as well that helps you see fabric, underplane of the hand. You can see how pretty it looks now with the tones, really nice and nice lighting in the photograph. And you can see I can design this cast shadow on his arm. You see that? See that he has an arm, right? And a hand. I can make the cast shadow like this. In the photo, it's like that. You see that? But that doesn't serve me as well as what I have here, the arc this way. Now, why would I do that? Well, right, because it's a cross section and we want to show that we are below this form. So that is a conscious choice. That's a design choice. It's all consciously designed to communicate the up view, which is really, 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 really difficult. So you need to put all of the visual cues you have, use all of them at your disposal to draw such a difficult pose. If you're watching at home, draw along with me, follow along with me. It's going to be a lot of fun. This one's not as stressful as the other one. In my mind, for some reason, the more the natural poses, um, they they take more thought and care for some reason. I think they just have a large margin of error versus like an action pose like this one has a much greater margin of error, meaning you can mess up more, make more mistakes, and it'll still look okay. Whereas like a casual pose, like what we saw, a walking pose, geez, those are hard. Okay, so I can tell already that my perspective is, I have this tendency to elongate the legs, the arms, and the necks of my drawings. But we can't do that if we're drawing foreshortening, right? Or figures in perspective. Why? Because as as things go away in 3D space, they get smaller and smaller and smaller. So if I want to sell the 3D space, for example, that lower leg, I got to make it really small. I got to make it foreshortened, meaning get smaller as it gets to the foot and the ankle. If I make it too big, right? As you can see now, the illusion feels pretty good, right? The illusion of 3D space feels pretty good. Let's see, where am I here? The elbow. I'm kind of lost. It's a bit of a tangent on his leg there. I'm going to remove that. I think I made the torso too short. And again, if this is, if you're watching from home or you're drawing at home with me, and this is too difficult pose for you, that's okay. Don't get frustrated. Go back to the basic forms, get those little wins in. Go back to boxes and cylinders, all that stuff. You know, it's not as sexy as this. You know, you can't, you know, you're not going to probably post a photo of you drawing boxes on Instagram. Um, you know, can't show that off on Instagram, but that's okay. You know, well, do you want likes on Instagram or do you want to be a great artist? I think I already know the answer to that. Okay. Yeah, it feels okay. I'm gonna refine my drawing a little bit by adding the wrinkles and folds now. Okay, let's see if I can add some wrinkles and folds to help me sell the illusion. Because remember, we want to show cross sections. We want to communicate position. We want to do overlaps. This sleeve I'm working on now, his right sleeve, where the holding the sword, you can see all the beautiful wrinkles and folds that create, right, cross section, cross section, cross section. So perfect, perfect there. That one's easy for us to recognize and see. There might be some more complex ones in the figure. Let me take a look there in a minute. So I feel pretty good about that. This nice one here in the armpit and the upper back here. What I want to do is communicate this box. Typically when I draw high angle, I'm always looking for the box. If it's not there, I'll force it, meaning I'll invent it. I'll design it somehow into my drawing. You can see I'm doing that now with these subtle corner, these subtle, the cast shadows or the the shadow shapes. I'm making them kind of boxy, suggesting a corner is what I'm really trying to do here. Anything I could do to to create the illusion of the down view, I'm going to do. Here's an overlap. The the jacket overlaps the hips and the butt in this case. Little pants pocket there. Hey, I'm going to use that pants pocket because that angle, that curve gives me a nice indication of the curve of the cylinder. So I'm going to use that, of course. Not a lot of wrinkles in the pant legs here. It's wearing kind of this tight thing, but at the back of the knee, of course. Opportunities for overlaps, of course. Subtle ones. And then the calf muscle. Overlaps, overlaps, overlaps. And these wrinkles and folds here, there's a lot, and a lot of them are subtle. But again, to me, it's just a tool. Really, it's my primary goal, at least for this drawing, is to communicate a good high angle view, bird's eye view, overhead view. And I'm gonna use all the wrinkles and folds that I can to do that. And a nice little overlap there. Overlap foot. The shin overlaps the foot. In this case, the hand overlaps the thigh. Nice overlap there. The elbow here of his arm overlaps the bottom of his shirt there. The shirt overlaps the hip. So these three overlaps, I just keep hitting them over and over again. And they're helping me to communicate the form, the position and the form. See if I can just quickly add some tone. I want to get this shadow. There it is. I want to sell that box so badly. That's why I wanted to do the tone now, even though I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to move on here. Okay. So remember, if you're drawing at home, um, and you feel confident in your figures, definitely try at least one high angle, one low angle. And I would try, well, probably it'll be pretty easy for you to find reference of action poses like characters jumping, people jumping, sports athletes, and things like that. It might be more difficult to find casual poses like people sitting down reading a newspaper or drinking coffee or, people standing in a natural standing pose. So those are the ones you want to practice with too, especially if you're watching this because you're interested in movie poster work or entertainment work. So this is tough. This is tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of reference, figure or a character in a movie, like this is actress in a movie. Obviously, it's a movie poster. And I'm going to take this exact pose that she's in, but I'm going to draw a low angle version and a high angle version from my imagination. Well, sort of my imagination. I'm going to use the photo as a reference, and then I'm going to invent the camera angle. I hope that makes sense. So I'll show you what that means. So right now we're looking at her straight on, directly at eye level. So what if we took the camera and angled it down? See, right now the camera is here. What if we took the camera, right, and rotated it downwards? What's that going to look like? So, oh boy, here we go. And the reason why I want to talk about this and why I spend a whole week on this subject in my movie poster program and my figure drawing program as well is because this is something that I do every day on the job. I get asked to do this all the time. Draw a low angle figure from a piece of reference. And yeah, it is. It's not easy. It's not easy. So this is really advanced, but I just wanted to show this here. Really advanced. I think I'm going to change her arm a little bit. Imagine she's holding a gun or something. So just sketching the forms. Remember all the, hope you're starting to see a pattern here. Why the freehand sketching is so important, and it's not something to be taken lightly. Why the copying the masters, the line studying how Leyendecker did low angle is so important because all of that stuff is just more tools for your toolkit, more more experience and training. So I'm just going to invent a subtle low angle. So now I kind of got a rough idea of her figure here. And then just loosely sketching. And notice just the amount of cross sections. I just naturally do cross sections in my drawing because it's so useful, especially when I know I'm doing low angle view. I'm just going to put a gun here. Why not? Okay, okay. Let's see. So I got a pretty nice framework. Let's see how far I can push the low angle. Well, first, I'm not going to draw her face, but just get a nice silhouette. And obviously she could still be looking down at the camera, but I'm just going to pretend that she's still looking straight and we can see the underplane of her nose. And boy, this is tricky. This is tricky, but man, this is part of the job. So this is a great exercise to practice for those of you who want to do the realistic illustration work. You got to be able to do this. This is for sure a skill that pays the bills. I would say the head more important or just as important as the figure perspective. So notice I have some nice shadow shapes that I can use here, right, to sell the cross section. Right now, if we look at our figure, right, the cross sections are pretty much perpendicular. Why? Because we are perpendicular to her. But the moment, right, if this was a cylinder, right, the moment we turn the camera down, guess what happens to the cross sections? Boom. You see that? So that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to do. That's what we want to do is hit up those cross sections. So now the belt line, the fabric enfolds that little coarse shadow under her chest there. Just keep going with the cross sections. The shirt sleeves, a really dramatic one I could use. Right there, that little cuff in her shirt sleeve. I can definitely exaggerate that and use that. I can create a obviously a beautiful what's that called? Overlap there, right? The the palm and the wrist right here will now overlap the forearm. You see that? The palm, top of her hand overlaps the forearm. The hip overlaps the hand now real nicely. So just doing the best I can. That wrinkle, see that? It's a conscious wrinkle. Creates an overlap of the thigh and the hip. So just keep hitting that home. The lower leg really doesn't have much to work with. I can invent or embellish or play up the wrinkles that I do see, which is not a bad idea. Because whenever I look at these wrinkles, I I don't look and go, okay, man, I got to copy that wrinkle, make it exactly like the wrinkle there. No, I look at the wrinkle and I go, okay, why is it doing that? Is it because its its arm is being bent? Is it because it's a stitching there, like the crotch, right? Is it a stitch point, an anchor point? Um, and can I use it to show form, or can I use it to show perspective? In this case, I want to do a little bit of both. Mostly, I'm concerned about perspective, obviously, for doing a dramatic low angle. It's not too dramatic, but definitely not. It's not straight on anymore. Okay, so kind of inventing folds here. Okay, I feel okay about that. The gun has a underplane. So I can use that. I'm just, underplane, cross sections, underplane, cross sections, corners. I'm just doing whatever I can oops, to communicate that. Oh, I feel pretty good about that. I feel pretty good. It's not super dramatic, but that's okay. Say I want the legs to do this, but there's not a lot of information on the legs, so I can probably embellish that somehow. I'll have to add some wrinkles or something like that. Use tone. That will be the next step. Once I have my tone ready, once I finish this line drawing. Okay. All right, you guys still with me? Are you, those of you watching at home or trying to draw at home? I hope this exercise is not too intimidating. I mean, like I said, this is really, really hard. So that's why I saved this one for the end. This is the most advanced exercise here when you have to invent. I would definitely do some copies. If you can't draw a full figure yet, do as many master copies as you can. If that's too challenging, definitely start with the warm-up exercises, draw your forms, build up your confidence to master copies of Leyendecker, Cornwells, and things. And then once you are comfortable there, then you can try to do low angle from photography. And notice the leg. I'm just sort of I'm so desperate to make some kind of form read that I'm almost like subtly inventing wrinkles and folds here with my tone, because I really really want to show cross sections. That's what I'm doing there. It could help me sell the leg, but I think the leg is working. Um, Underplane of the wrinkle helps me sell that a lot. Another wrinkle underplane. The underplane of this cuff there in her elbow. Underplane there, really nice. And sort of the underplane of her forearm. Every little clue I can get. That's why, yeah, to me, again, with just like wrinkles and folds, when I look at tone, I don't look at tone and go, shadow shapes, light and dark shapes, rendering. I don't look at the rendering and go, oh, man, I got to copy that. I want to copy it so perfectly. So my drawing looks like a photograph. No, I look at the tones and go, okay, how can I use the tone? Why is it there? Should I communicate the direction of the light? Should I use the tone to help me show form? Should I use the tone to help me show um, perspective? Just like kind of what I did at the bottom here. Okay, so the last part of the exercise is to invent a high angle or do the inverse. So if you started with a high angle, invent the low angle. So now I'm going to take the figure and move the camera up. So now we're going to look down. Oh boy, we're going to look down on our figure. So wish me luck here. Okay. Okay. I'm like, okay, what do I do? Even me, I'm like, oh, geez, what the heck how do I start? Whew. Okay, so I gotta start with the head and then torso. So again, um, going back to my fundamentals of the basic form, just like we started with earlier in the warm-ups. This leg will be out more. Whew. Let's see if I can move this up. Make it a little bigger for you guys there. Oh boy. Whew. I'm kind of sweating a little bit here. Yeah, this is tough. I am not gonna lie. So hopefully you can review this video as many times as you need to until you get to this stage where you can draw it from imagination freehand. Whew, that's not easy. I think for me, if I had to do this for a client and I had a really difficult upshot that they didn't give me reference for, I couldn't find it, I would shoot it, photograph a model or a friend, get a friend to a female friend here to pose for me in this pose just to get that camera angle right because it is just brutal actually. Just brutal. Oh my god, I'm sweating big time and my AC's turned off right now, so I'm sweating even more. But luckily this high angle has less information for me. So it's good and bad. Oh man. Man, whew, this is brutal. I almost just want to invent it off the top of my head because now I'm kind of if this was a real assignment, uh, the pressure is not only to draw a figure that's accurate and naturalistic and draw it quickly, right? Meet the deadline, but now I got to also get the likeness of the actress, which is absolutely brutal. And I've had to do that on the job. I had to invent high and low angle poses uh, when I didn't have reference and get the likeness. It's absolutely brutal. That's why I was suggesting that um, in a lot of ways, taking the time to photograph a model would be more efficient because it'll look more natural, obviously, too. Okay, I mean, for an invented difficult angle, this is it's okay. It definitely definitely works. I think, and for being invented, it's not bad. And it has somewhat of a likeness, a little bit. I mean, you can't see her face, but you can tell. Okay, it's a fairly slim, attractive woman with this certain jumpsuit kind of thing on and heels on, this bodysuit thing. I forgot this actress's name, but I saw her recently. Well, not too recently, but she's in the latest Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, Fallout. It's really good. She does. I really like her performance there. I haven't seen Hobbs or Shaw. Comment below if you have seen Hobbs and Shaw. There's so many of these. Fast and Furious. Lose count. All right, I feel pretty good about that. I mean, yeah, it definitely works. There's some. I think the leg foreshortening is a little strange, but let's see if I can add some value to make it better. So I'm just going to imagine a light from above and see if we can, use some of these shadow shapes to suggest overlaps and corners and things like that. I think the thing that's bothering me about this drawing is the position of the feet. I think they should be even more, should be smaller. The foreshortening should be more dramatic, but I wanted to draw her, see if I could, yeah, wanted to draw her legs, pant legs there to kind of demonstrate how I would handle the um, the foreshortening in this angle, high angle bird's eye view. Uh, so in this case, I want to see top planes. Remember in the other view, just the demonstration we just saw, my goal was to use tone to show underplanes, right? So here I want to communicate top planes as much as I can. You can do that with tone as well. Luckily, she's wearing like this dark jumpsuit, a dark leather kind of thing. Vanessa Kirby is her name, actress name. And there, just kind of hint at the underplane of the wrinkles in the pant legs just to show the form. That's why I drew the pant legs this way. I know it's not accurate. And here's a little cast shadow under the arm. Very nice there. Give me any indication that I have of depth. I'll take it because right now I need to sell this tricky view. Okay. I think it's as far as we're gonna go here. I think for an invented figure exercise that works. Definitely try this yourself. I know it's really, really challenging. Again, go back to the mannequin man if this is too challenging. If you're still new, don't have a lot of experience drawing perspectives, try the master copy or then start with Again, the simple forms in perspective.